let's jump to the now real quick, because as we're looking at future history repeating itself, you know, it appears that Donald Trump is standing in the midst of the face of this deep state, the administrative state. And so I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on with this indictment and arrest pending, could be this week, I think, whether we might have a repeat of the JFK situation with Donald Trump.
Well, here's the thing. You view Donald Trump as battling the deep state? Is that how you view him?
No.
No? Okay. No, I just want to check, because some people do, and I think they're very wrong. See, I've got a problem because I grew up in New Jersey, mostly in New York a little bit, and I grew up around this guy's mishaps. It's very interesting. He's a different sort of character. You know, people talk about him as a great businessman and all this. What he's great at doing is taking advantage of things like, you know, making sure businesses that shouldn't fail, and then he profits off of it. I mean, the only guy in the world who could have ever went broke, you know, made 3 casinos go broke in Atlantic City, for God's sake. I don't even know how you do that. It's beyond my intelligence, and I'm not somebody who I would count themselves as ignorant of things, but I don't know how you make 3 casinos go broke in Atlantic City. That's a feat. Anyway, Donald Trump accomplished that. Donald Trump accomplished a lot of interesting things before he ended up being the figurehead for what's going on here. But let us also take note of a few things. Is there a JFK situation coming up because Donald Trump is going to push back against the system? No, I think he is actually serving a great purpose for the system. He's done an excellent job to make sure that the mainstream media didn't completely go to the way of the dinosaur, because the resurrection of their ratings and everything occurred during his presidential run. He's been an incredible distraction. And again, part of the buffet of, hey, view it any which way you want it. So he's been extremely useful to the people that want to keep us distracted instead of having us know what's actually going on.
And now, fighting amongst each other. I mean, my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been perfect for that. I mean, is he a CIA guy? No. Is he somebody who actually knows what his role is? I'm uncertain. But I do know that he's served an excellent purpose here for those that want to keep us confounded, turned on one another, and think about the massive amounts of deception that have been really amped up in just the past, 10 years, where this guy plays a very serious role. What is it that he's touched upon that has actually accomplished something good? Some people would say the economy was better before him, and indeed it was, but was he responsible for that? Not really. Okay. He was going to build a wall. He built a little bit of a wall, but didn't get that done. Oh, that's because the Democrats were stopping him. Pay no attention to the fact that he had full control of both houses of Congress, you know, for 2 years, half of his presidency. That doesn't matter because it was the Democrats keeping him from accomplishing stuff, right? Okay. The most fascinating lessons, and when you bring him up regarding JFK, are, and by the way, there's still a lawsuit going on with the Biden administration, even though they have released more documentation from the CIA and stuff in recent days even. But in 2017, Donald Trump could have done nothing, and tens of thousands of documents would have tumbled out from, that were being held by the National Archives for release in 2017 due to the work of the JFK Assassination Records Review Board that took place in the 90s, okay? He had to do nothing, and a whole lot of stuff would have tumbled out into the public. Unredacted everything, left and right, okay? He acquiesced to the intelligence agencies, all of them, by the way, and withheld tons of stuff in 2017, kicked the can down the road. And then the Biden administration, which, of course, people said and told me at certain times, don't worry, Trump's going to release everything. He didn't. Don't worry, Biden's going to release everything. He didn't. It's really interesting to watch their interplay here because the guy who was supposed to be the whistleblower, the truth teller, etc., watch his actions. Matter of fact, I'll give you an interesting point of fact. You know who Jefferson Morley is? Freeman Fly, you know who that is?
No.
Interesting guy. He's been suing the CIA for decades, trying to get stuff out of them regarding certain operatives that were interfering with government investigations tied directly to the CIA and the JFK assassination. He's an author. Interesting guy. But here's the thing. When they finally put his lawsuits to bed against the CIA and shut him down, and sided with the CIA, keeping its secrecy regarding its operatives interfering with supposedly above the board investigations into things. When his lawsuits were put to bed, there was a circuit court judge there who was named Brett Kavanaugh, who actually sided with the CIA just slightly before he was appointed to the Supreme Court, a little bit before, by Donald Trump. Right. It's interesting how certain guys just pop up. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. Well, I was just thinking about I was rather shocked because when Trump was elected, the very first place he went, and it was on TV, it was the first place he went after being inaugurated, was the CIA.
Yeah, of course.
I thought you were here to stop all of that. I thought you were the one that's taking on the CIA, and all of a sudden, this is the first place you go after you become president.
I mean, but isn't it ironic that right in front of his face, like, here's one of the most honest things he ever said is when he did the whole, I could shoot somebody in the face on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. Yeah, he could. And he knows that. That's the beauty of it. Freeman, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had something in your life that kind of went bust, a business or something like that? Did they let you off the hook if you just, stiff, millions of dollars, you stiff, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 100 people out of a couple $1 million? No, they don't. They usually chase you down, track you down, stop you from doing other businesses. What did they do to Donald Trump repeatedly in his history? Give him more money. Right. Give him more loans that he would default on, etc. Look.
Yeah, there's no heroes. There's nobody here to save us.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. It's just, I find it so laughable. I loved when he was elected because I was a little surprised that somebody would take a real estate hustler from Queens so seriously. But once they did, I started to see what was happening. There were people saying, and here's the funny thing about RFK. At that time, he's going to sit down with RFK Jr. They are going to very seriously discuss vaccinations. Don't forget that. They're going to very seriously discuss it, and there's going to be an accomplishment here regarding vaccinations during the time Trump is in office. Now, I will say they were correct. There was an accomplishment while Trump was in office regarding vaccines, but it was Operation Warp Speed. Everybody forgets that was started under Trump, right? I just... It's amazing to me. He was supposed to sit down with RFK Jr. because RFK had been a critic, not an anti-vaxxer, which I am, but somebody who was a critic of certain things who, as of yesterday, even when I listened to CNN give an analysis of his terrible background, he states false information like, complete conspiracy theory, like autism could possibly be caused by a vaccination. Funny because that's on the stupid inserts for the vaccines directly. It's in their own literature that says it's a possible side effect, but he's making it up and it's a conspiracy theory. I didn't know that that's what you put on medical products.
Warning labels, right?
Warning labels. I always thought that you got to put things on, like, look, I'm not going to tell you, be careful with this cereal because it may explode. It's generally not going to be an explosive. Okay, it could be a choking hazard, I guess. I could put that warning on a box of cereal, Freeman. But generally speaking, you don't put unrealistic, do not swallow your car. Okay, you don't put things like that on warning labels, do you?
No.
Okay, anyway, but he was going to accomplish that. Did you see it? I don't think so. He was going to release not just the documents that were coming in 2017 that he had nothing to do with, but he was going to release more stuff. He was going to go and blow the whistle and drop documents on why, because he said it during the campaign about the Iraq war and how that was prosecuted falsely. And he kind of dog whistled people like you and me a little bit there by saying, hey, I'm going to be on your side regarding letting the truths about these things come out. He kind of gave that signal, but did he do it? People told me he was gonna. People told me they knew from insider information that he was meeting with RFK Jr., that he was going to do this and that and the third thing. Now, ask yourself what the actual results were. Ask yourself what the actual behavior was. Ask yourself what happened to a lady who's ironically named Reality Winner. Ask yourself what actually happened during Trump's presidency, and don't let it be askew because you want to believe that things were so much better. Oh, the border crisis was better. It's funny because they didn't change the policies. Oh, the post office ran better. It runs terrible now. It's the same postmaster general that Trump put in there. By the way, Biden didn't change a lot of his people in a lot of these positions of power. Take notice of that as well, please. I mean, I know he changed his cabinet. You have to do that. But take a look at the people that are actually running the agencies and making policies. There weren't that many massive changes. I mean, it's the same postmaster. It's the same guy running the border stuff. It's the same. I mean, yeah, the cabinet positions, like I said, they're different. Of course, they're going to impeach all those guys, right? Oh, and by the way, weren't there a whole bunch of sealed indictments and raids, and QAnon was telling us that all sorts of criminal conspiracies and mafias were being taken out, and child traffickers were being rounded up by the thousands, and Barack Obama was arrested in a massive cocaine bust. And what happened to all that, Freeman? Do you remember?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Okay.
QAnon and flat Earth.
I got to throw humor in here. Yeah, I got to throw humor in here. It might be gallows,
yeah.
But it's humorous to me that people will search desperately for a narrative they want to believe instead of looking at the practical realities, like I said, about cooperation and sharing. Indeed, the concerns of your fellow man, looking from left to right in a crowd and realizing you have a lot more in common with others than you have to hold against them. Stuff like that is terribly stupid and foo-foo and pointless. But all this other crap I just ran through, that's all meaningful. That's all the thing that should dictate to your life what you should do with it. That's where you should put your support, is on the latest savior that they've told you is on your side. And it's interesting, too, because I actually like RFK Jr. I really do. I don't like Donald Trump. I'll give you that right now. And I think he's nothing more than a product of the deep state, not battling it, a product of the deep state. That's my opinion. It's not popular. I know, but
no,
anyway.
I mean, but if you want the populist movement, what do? You indict, you threaten, you know, to turn everybody towards that leader. You know, how many times have I heard on InfoWars, well, you know, I believe in Donald Trump because they're going after him. And I'm like, well, what would you do if you wanted people like Alex Jones and the populist movement to go towards somebody? You'd make them look like they were suffering and that you were out to get them. And, you know, this is just so obvious. Like,
yeah, no, it's the leverage of persecution. That's the beauty of it, because you mentioned these indictments, and that is my view on it right there, is that the greatest thing that's happening right now is that Trump is being legitimized for a run in 2024. He is being fed support and fundraising under the fact that he is now doing, and he's saying it out in front all over the place, they're coming after me because they can come after me and they will come after you. So support me because I am you. Now, I can look back on many different people's speeches in history that had control over masses in different countries and find language very similar to this. And you could call some of them communist. You could call some of them fascist. You could call whatever. Various authoritarians make statements like this all the time. I am you. We are the country. Those other people are the enemy. It sounds like the same game to me, just like I said. You know, it's just the Mad Libs fill in the blank. You got to put different names in there sometimes because people do eventually die off, best I can tell. But this is where we're at. And that's how I view these indictments. It's to bolster his legitimacy. It is to make him the guy to follow if you're irritated with the system, and plenty of people are with very good reason. And that's all there is to it. I don't think legitimately this guy's ever, you know, he'll spend about as many days in jail as Jeffrey Epstein did. Okay. And that's about it. All right. And Epstein used to get to leave and everything, by the way, during his sweetheart deal. I love that story too, by the way. But hey, pay no attention to that, right? Because that's all over and done with. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Where did that story go? Right. Like whatever happened to Ghislaine. But